Cuccinell. Who's Jeff Cuccinell? I'm going to add him to the who's not list. This poor guy. He bet a parlay, and his bet was $9.75. This parlay had quite a few legs. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime TD scorer. Josh Allen, rushing TD. A.J. Brown, touch. Anyways, it had like 11 legs on this parlay, 11 different bets. He won 10 of them. The one he didn't win, Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. And if you don't remember, Taylor hit the goal line, but oops, dropped the ball an inch before, no touchdown. Matt, I know you're here to talk about the Niners from The Athletic, and we appreciate that each and every week. But as somebody who has watched football a long time, and I always think of Deshaun Jackson when I think of this particular play, but in the year of our Lord 2024, how do we still have players? This has happened multiple times this year that are dropping the ball on purpose before they cross the goal line.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I think there's a story there, because I think there's something psychological that's going on where you very, scoring a touchdown is like the end all be all of the NFL, but there's something psychological going on where you don't want that ball in your hand, and there's something about it that you're trying to drop it before you actually score. It's a weird phenomenon. And it seems to come in spurts, because when Deshaun Jackson was doing it, it happened a few times in that era too. And now all of a sudden it's coming back. But it's something that regularly occurs in football.
It's just, I also don't know why, and I don't even know if this is legal in the NFL, but I'll never be an NFL head coach. If I was, one of the first rules I would institute is I'm going to fine you $100,000 if you drop the ball anywhere in the end zone. If you want to celebrate and spike the ball, do it past the white line on the other side. If you drop the ball, even if you're in the end zone and it doesn't hurt us, you're running like 1,000 wind sprints on Monday. At some point, coaches just got to make a rule.
I don't know what's going on, but it's an interesting phenomenon, because it's almost as if they don't want the ball. Like that game you played, I'm not going to say the name of it, but as a kid, when you had the ball, everybody was trying to tackle you.
That's right.
You would just throw the ball.
That's right.
At least I would.
Yeah, everyone's coming at you 100 miles an hour. I'm good. Let's switch to 3 flies up, kids. Oh, wait, watch this transition. Hold on. Somebody else who didn't want the ball for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Devondre Campbell. And this is interesting. Maybe you could give us some clarity on this, because the first thought, and by the way, I love this, if this is how it's going to all go down. The first thought was, they're cutting him. You could tell just from Mooney Ward, from George Kittle, Kyle, Shanahan, everybody. That's where we were going. And now it sounds like they're just going to they basically are going to try to suspend him, cost him some money, and also not allow him to join up with a contender. Is that about right?
Yeah. I mean, that last half of what you said, I think, is the real kind of driving force, is that you can't quit a team and then get rewarded by being picked up by, the Packers, his old team, a playoff team, or somebody else good. I mean, you can't pout and then, ditch your current team and then get rewarded by being signed by another team. So I think that's what's going on. It sends a signal across the league that that's not a way that you can go about it.
And I also heard this, and again, no one's connected more to the team than you. Were you able to verify, is this a verified thing, that John Lynch, who's been known to play football before in his life, let Devondre Campbell know face-to-face exactly how he felt about all that?
I don't know that. That would not shock me at all. I mean, John Lynch is a football purist. I mean, he doesn't even like it when a college player skips his bowl game, for example. So of all the figures on the 49ers, I think what Devondre Campbell did would have offended John Lynch the most.
Going into Friday, and everybody can have their own opinions, but my take was, as a 49er fan, but also somebody who covers the team, I understand that mathematically things can happen, but for me, that was the season. The Niners are this ain't a playoff team. It was already on the edge anyways, but you could start post-morteming, if you will. Am I correct in assuming that that's certainly not the franchise's take on everything?
It is. I mean, I think that they know that the handwriting is on the wall, though.
Yeah.
They're still mathematically in it. Anything can happen. If you get in, all sorts of weird things can happen. They're 2 games behind right now with 3 games to play, and they don't own any of these tiebreakers. They keep losing to their division opponents. They've only won 1 division game this year against Seattle. So, I mean, to me, that really sort of underscores where the 49ers are. This is a mediocre division, the worst division top to bottom, or maybe the most, like I said, mid-level, as the kids say, mid division in the NFL. And the 49ers can't even beat the other mids. So that's where things stand. If Seattle lost out, if the Rams lost out, and I realize the Rams and the Seahawks play each other, and the 49ers won all their games, I mean, that's the only scenario is they win them all, and then the guys in front of them lose them all.
What is, if anything, the fallout, in your opinion, if there is, of Deebo Samuel, making that tweet, saying it publicly that he wasn't getting the ball, getting community noted on Twitter, and then just that drop that could not have come at a worse time, both for the franchise and let's be honest, for Deebo Samuel? What's been kind of the postmortem on that whole thing?
I don't think that the tweet is going to matter much. I mean, what matters is that he's just not coming through. To his credit, his 2021 season was one of the most remarkable seasons I've ever covered of any 49ers player. They started going to him as a running back midway through that season, and he carried that team all the way to the championship game against the Rams.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you put those 2 seasons in contrast, 2021 and 2024. Circumstances really very similar. They're low on running backs. They need to get on a roll to make the playoffs. They're turning to Deebo. I mean, that was a focus at the beginning of the game. Let's get the ball in Deebo's hands. Let's see what he can do against the Rams. This is going to be like old times. And it just wasn't. He just couldn't find the space, and he couldn't catch the ball. I mean, it's underscoring that he's not the same player he was 3 years ago. I mean, I think we all knew that, but boy, these last few games have really triple underlined that statement.
And the other thing kind of coming out this week, I think it was Tom Pelissero. I'm not sure who reported it, but and you never know depending on the source. I'm certainly not questioning the journalism, but it couldn't have come out at a worse time, I think. The Brock Purdy, or his camp at least, it seems to be rumblings that he's looking for quite the payday, quite the high payday come this offseason. And we know Brock Purdy's the most underpaid player in the league. There's no doubt about that. He's going to get a huge raise. Do you, in your crystal ball, Matt, do you see this? I'll give you 2 questions. A, as being potentially contentious, and B, do the Niners have options that John Lynch can get creative with here?
The 49ers' only real negotiating tool in all this is that he signed for another year beyond this one, and it's at that super low last pick in the draft rate. So their biggest strength is that they can say, hey, if we don't do this now, we'll just let him play out his final season, which is risky. I mean, this is a guy that hurt his elbow at one point, and his future was tenuous for a minute there. And B, he's still playing on a very low salary, very low.
Yeah.
One of the lowest on the team. So that's what they have going for them. What Purdy's camp has going for it is that the 49ers don't really have an alternative at quarterback. And Purdy's played well for the most part. And I know he didn't play well on Thursday, but you look at the totality of what he's done, and he's played like a top 10 quarterback over the last 2.5 seasons. So, I mean, these are going to be famous last words, but I don't think it should be contentious. They love Purdy. Purdy loves being here. I think that they realize that any quarterback deal is going to cost a mint. That's why they've been, redoing all the salaries of the players around Purdy. So, I mean, hopefully it gets done. I mean, it could get done on what's their last game, January 5 against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Get done January 6. I mean, it's permissible to do that. Once the season ends, they can do it. So I'm personally, after going through the really stupid Brandon Ayuk situation, I'm hoping it gets done by mid-February, and the 49ers can kind of go into the offseason knowing that their big item on their to-do list is now off the list.
And not to get too down in the depths here, but to the best of your knowledge, and we don't often talk deep contract rules, but if they were to hypothetically let him pay on the $900 million contract next year, would they also have an option after that if they wanted to franchise tag him? And as I understand it, even though that tag would be pretty hefty, lower than it sounds like the average annual value he's looking for, do they have options beyond next year if they wanted to the best of your knowledge?
I think so. I mean, again, I'm not sure that that's anything that they want to bring to bear. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, you have a really contentious negotiation with your wide receiver, and it was bad, and it had all sorts of ramifications. You don't want to do that with a quarterback, and I don't think that they would. Like I said, I don't think that it's going to be a contentious negotiation. I go back to the Jimmy Garoppolo one back in 2017. Right. And Garoppolo had only started, I guess it was 2018, but it only started 5 games.
Yeah.
At the tail end of a lost season. But the 49ers realized, okay, I mean, we're sort of in a corner here. He played so well. He did everything. I mean, he got this franchise excited again. He did go 5-0. We have to pay this guy. And they did get that deal done in mid-February. And for a little while there, Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid player in all of the NFL. Didn't last very long, but I think they realized what the market was, what they had to do, and they did it.
Last question for you. 3-game season left, most likely. One more home game. That's against the Lions. Odds would say the Niners are going to finish on a 2-game home losing streak. Again, odds would say. But this week they go across the country, nice and sunny while it's rainy out here. Take on old friend Mike McDaniel in the Dolphins. So after the rough outing against the Rams, in which they could only manage 6 points, there's definitely some holes in that Miami defense. I don't want to call this a get-right game necessarily, but I imagine this could be a far more fun game for the Niners than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm expecting too. A lot of offense. It's going to be old Raheem versus new Raheem. I mean, Isaac Orlando is the spitting image of Raheem Mostert.
Wow, that's a great call, Matt. Wow, you're 100%. Wow, you are. I not thought of that. Yeah, 100% right.
So, yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I think Brock Purdy will have more time and room to maneuver. But, the Dolphins have quite an offense, a lot of speed on the field. It'll be a nice test for the young safeties. I think Malik Mustafa will be back. I think it goes on this team. Dominic Pooney was the top rookie this year, but Mustafa, I think, is number 2. He's really, really looking at a bright future on this team, and it'll be a fun test for him.
The old Mike Tyson saying when he fought Razor Ruddock is he hits like a mule kicks, and this kid Malik Mustafa hits hard, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him grow as a 49er. All right, Matt, appreciate you. Are you going out to this one, or you get to slide it off to one of the other guys?
No, this is a Matt Barrows trip, so I'll be doing that one. I'll be doing the finale in Arizona too. That's the real postmortem for the season.
Poor Matt Barrows, Miami and Arizona in the middle of December. Appreciate you. Enjoy yourself. Have fun out there. Safe flight. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dave. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care. That is Matt Barrows of The Athletic. Read him, follow him. Just the